Okay, get ready for me to do a lot of criticizing, whinging, complaining over these next 2 episodes, but we're starting on something positive, actually.
Rava. Nothing could stop this moment.
I like that Vaatu calls Korra Rava, just completely disregarding the physical form Rava is inhabiting and speaking directly to her. It captures some of the scale or grandness that Rava and Vaatu should have had, but mostly don't. One of the big problems with the Avatar as a concept is that basically if anyone gets hit by airbending like this, they would have also been hit by firebending just as hard. Meaning that if Korra chose firebending right now, she would have just immolated Unalaq and there goes all of his plans because he's a flaming corpse on the ground. Airbender didn't have this problem because Aang learned firebending, and then he really takes a back seat in the show until the finale. His only fight while knowing both airbending and firebending is against Ozai. But Korra knows both for all of seasons 2, 3, and 4, and later, sure, she doesn't want to kill anyone, but I'm sure she wants to smoke Unalaq and be done with it right now. For the sake of the world. Would have really simplified things if this was a fire blast.
Jinora! Jinora spirit, do you hear me?
Oh boy, okay, so this plot is really not suited for a finale. Think about your favorite grand scale movie, right? Let's say Avengers Infinity War. Everyone liked that one for the most part, right? When the third act hits and the action really starts pumping, all your situations rise to that level of excitement. There's a war, there's like 30 people fighting Thanos, Thor's doing some crazy shit. It's all way up there, action, spectacle, and stakes-wise. Because you don't want to cut away from a scene that your audience is really into and go to some mundane shit. It steals the energy. In the Avengers movie, the Thor scenes are a touch less extreme and exciting because you don't want your viewers to get overwhelmed or your spectacle to get stale, because in that movie, you're at that energy level for a long time. But a show like Korra does not have that issue. Like an Airbender, you're like, holy shit, Aang versus Ozai, and oh my god, Zuko versus Zula, and oh no, Sokka's gonna die! And oh yeah, hell, the White Lotus is taking back Ba Sing Se. Everything has roughly the same level of, if not importance, at least excitement behind it. So now bring it back to Korra. We have Korra versus the spirit of ultimate evil, good, nice. We have Mako and Bolin versus the wannabe Antichrist, awesome, that works. And then we have the squabbling middle-aged siblings wandering around the Wonderland forest. Do you see where the problem lies?
We just need to employ the simple rules of tracking. First we locate our footprints, then we follow them.
It's like, listen to these idiots. What are you talking about? You don't even know what direction she's in. The show's just like, oh yeah, Tenzin and the siblings are looking for Jinora while everything else is happening. The show hasn't set up any feasible way for them to find Jinora, so this feels like even more of a time waste than it already does.
I'm sorry to disturb you, but I am in need of your assistance.
You dare wake me, human? Humans in the spirit world.
Isn't our main character fighting a demon right now? Wait, you guys are physically here, right? Why did Tenzin eat this fall? You're an airbender. Bend the air. I gotta say, the animation they do on Korra's rocket boots is always really solid. Like, you can feel that they're keeping her up. It doesn't feel like she's just floating there. Very nice. So Vaatu's giant laser is just akin to a big punch or something, right? It doesn't seem to do much more than send things flying. Disappointing. Yeah, you know Vaatu's been cooking that move up for 10,000 years. When I said there's no way ice would stick into rock like this way back in Airbender, and a handful of people told me that no, if the ice is cold enough and the rock is soft enough, it could. And I just don't get it, man.
I don't know if we can win this fight.
Damn, Unalaq's nice with it then. You guys used to bend for a living, and he's got you outmatched in a 2v1? Oh, hey, Iroh, you just, like, hanging out in the woods, huh?
How? Where? It's been so long.
I know we don't have time for Tenzin to be like, what? How are you here? How does this make any sense? But really, man, I wish he would. This should be mind-blowing for him.
How did you know we were here?
My friendly spirit fox told me you were lost.
This fox looks very similar to Wan Shi Tong's assistants, at least in Korra. I guess Iroh just ganked one for himself.
But you shouldn't be here. Vaatu has escaped, and darkness threatens to take over.
Yo, wait, hold on. Could you imagine if Vaatu, for some reason, came in this general direction, and Iroh, being a full-on spirit now at this point, Dark Iroh?
If you travel too deep into the spirit world, you could end up in a place where only the lost will ever find you.
All right, thanks for that, Iroh. I've been cooking that one up for 10,000 years. Vaatu looks really small in this shot. Maybe it's that as he takes more damage, he gets smaller, but I'd say it's impossible to tell from the action and how he heals. Yeah, I'm telling you, I don't know why Vaatu ever thought he was the big dog in this fight. He got smoked so fast last time, but I guess it's harmonic convergence and they're destined to fight here according to the lore, so maybe he just can't run. He's like instinctually locked on having this fight somehow. Yeah, Unalaq can fly on water. I don't know if anyone really remembers that. This casts a shadow. There's no way I'm seeing this wrong. He is off the ground here. And he ain't even doing anything. He's just standing there. Okay, running on water is one thing, whether it be through water bending or super speed, but just being able to stand on it and have it move you around, that breaks so many rules in this universe, it's insane. At least in the comics, when Katara did it, it's on ice and she's actively bending it, and despite it being stupid as hell on its own, this moment is way dumber. But they very thankfully don't make it a huge thing. It only happens for a couple seconds and no one remembers it, but it's here. It happens.
Hey you! Spirit! Wake up!
You again?
I like to think this is what happened to Azula. Not she became some healer, but she became this horrible spirit creature and kept the same voice.
Welcome to the fog of lost souls.
You idiot, they're airbenders and waterbenders. Fog is their specialty. I shouldn't have dropped out of the Avatar state in this, the most important moment of my life. Everyone get ready for Overanalyzing Avatar to bitch about insane moves that should be used instantly during every single fight. Here it comes. What? Okay, let's talk about this too. So Vaatu willingly fuses with Unalaq at the first available opportunity. Does that seem out of character to anyone else? The spirit that would have spit on Wan for just being human and thinking he could stand up to him if he had a mouth. I get that he's been ruminating on that fight for millennia at this point, but does Vaatu seem like someone that would just give up his autonomy, or at least share autonomy with anyone? Stoop as low as to fuse with a human? They were chatting, yeah, and I believe that Vaatu would tell Unalaq he would fuse with him to get his help, but actually fusing with him? Even if it makes him stronger, no, right? Wait, so it is an Avatar move? Well, no, wait, he's Vaatu now too. It is a Vaatu move. How do you move like this? I like this subtle animation here that as Unalaq is overtaken by the energy, he's shocked or maybe scared. Adds a level of maybe Unalaq has really bitten off more than he can chew kind of energy just for a moment. And I wish they did more with it. I wish when they fused, it was just Vaatu. Unalaq is gone. Vaatu was completely taken over. His voice, everything. That would make it make more sense that Vaatu would willingly fuse with them and make Vaatu even scarier, that he's more powerful and was just willing to hatefully trick Unalaq like that and sunken place him. But as far as I can tell, as we go forward, nah, it's just Unalaq for the most part.
I will lead them all as the new Avatar.
Well, I'm the old Avatar, and my era's not over yet.
Did you guys just chest bump? You guys were better at fighting when you were big glowing dish rags.
The fog is actually a spirit that infects your mind and slowly drives you mad.
I am Zhao the Conqueror. I am the Moonslayer.
Zhao's here, and it's like, whoa, cool, it's Zhao, remember him? I do kind of prefer the idea that the ocean spirits just coldly drowned him, but this is fine too, I guess. But here we are with another question that I need to ask. I'm overanalyzing Avatar, you may have heard of me. Zhao was physically brought into the spirit world 60 years ago or something, at the age of what, 40? Around there, anyway, but here it doesn't look like he's aged more than 10, 15 years. And that's very odd since we set up exactly what happens to the physical human body in the spirit world, and I don't think anyone's eating or drinking in this fog.
If we stay together, we'll find Jinora and make it out of this fog.
Everyone hold on to my trusty 10-foot airbender ribbon that I have. Did anyone else think the first time they were watching this, like, it doesn't make sense that Unalaq would be able to use the other elements, like, on any level at all, but you were still afraid he would, considering how this season is going? I wonder what Asami's doing. And thankfully, this is a giant block of ice Korra gets trapped in, and not the ground, despite Korra and Bolin both pulling up rock from the ground in this area like it's no problem, but whatever. I just thank them that it's not actually Earth.
Korra, this fight is not over.
Okay, so Rava can still talk to her avatar, meaning that not only did Korra not seek counsel from her past lives at all during this season, when she was constantly upset, or in the spirit world on multiple occasions, she could have literally talked to Rava this whole time. Aang could have, if he knew about her. Rava never felt it was pertinent to fill Aang in on some important stuff. Hey Aang, instead of messing around, there's a comet coming. Hey Aang, please don't die in the middle of the ocean. Hey Roku, reminder, with the spirit of balance and shit, you should probably blast this guy. They gave Rava a distinct personality, and it was an outspoken one, but she's just silent all the time now, despite her job being the same.
Vaatu cannot win. Do not give in to 10,000 years of darkness.
Also, for the love of God, can we talk about the 10,000 years thing? I've been waiting to talk about the 10,000 years thing all day. Okay, I get it. It's a thing in Eastern mythologies that 10,000 can either literally mean 10,000 or just mean infinite or endless. That's why when Wan Shitong says he knows 10,000 things, it actually means something to him. He doesn't just mean literally 10,000. I get the concept. However, in this context, even if it's supposed to feel like that, it's quite literally not. The show tells us there is a cycle that takes place every 10,000 actual years. There's no endless or infinite about it, because that wouldn't make any sense, right? And that's fine, but my problem with it is 10,000 years of darkness, no matter the context, sounds really, really dumb. It sounds like a 5th grader wrote it. Oh yeah, and if the bad guy wins, it will be 10,000 years of darkness. Just keep saying an era like you have, or an eon. No one knows how long an eon is without Googling it, and it's got the appropriate weight to it. And it doesn't help that I still can't even comprehend it. What do you mean darkness? What does that even mean? You might as well just say 10,000 years of badness. I have no reference point of what the consequences of losing even are. This is a complete breakdown in writing. Your audience, if they're paying attention, is totally lost. Airbender, Ozai's gonna burn down the planet if we lose. Cool, got it. Better win. Korra, Vaatu is gonna make everything dark. We should still probably try to win. Why are you glowing?
You cannot win.
Yes. They're all around us. The cannibals, they're everywhere.
So these are like Nom flashbacks for Boomy? I didn't think there would ever be cannibals in this world. The whole place seems to be pretty equally advanced. Even the Water Tribe back in the day was past any vibe like that. Unless it was in this hellish unexplored area over here. I bet that's where it was and why we never go there. The 5th Nation, cannibals.
Please, let us out.
Quickly, before your cells start dying from the ice.
Sorry. I can't help it. It's just so sad that I'll never get to be with you again.
Hey, look, this is a pretty cool moment, actually. Bolin takes all of his acting that he learned and applies it to the situation to trick Eska. It even hints that Bolin might be over this whole into pretty women that treat him poorly thing. A nice little low-key character arc for him, if you look at it that way. Good job, show. Yeah, how do you like it, Bolin, you fuck?
Wow, that was the best acting I've ever seen. You completely fooled her.
Yeah, right. That was acting.
Oh no, fire the show into the sun. Bolin is just here as a joke character to be laughed at. Extremely disappointing. The action here is cool and everything, fun, very high-flying, but now we get into the problem with the Avatar state. In Airbender, the Avatar state was of course left to be not an option in almost every situation for a few reasons. Either it was too dangerous, or Aang literally couldn't do it, but the most important reason is that it's because it breaks the show. You can't have your main character be an untouchable force of nature for any length of time over the course of the show, because then you have no tension. Aang just wins if he has the Avatar state, so the show kept it locked until the final battle, because they had to. And also because it represents Aang's growth from the boy in the iceberg to Avatar Aang and all that good stuff too. But now we're in Korra, and Korra has the Avatar state from the end of season 1 onward. But how do you do a show where your main character is an unstoppable force of nature the entire time? You can't. It doesn't work. So you have to make the Avatar state weaker. It's the only course of action you can reasonably take. But that obviously horribly undermines the Avatar state, seeing it get beaten over and over and over. Aang's Avatar state was like a natural disaster. You don't fight a hurricane or a forest fire, you just try and get out of the fucking way. Korra's Avatar state just feels like a mode where she can do more advanced moves, but it doesn't add a whole lot of power. Some, but nothing anywhere near what Aang can do. All of Aang's bendings seem to be roughly the same size when he was fighting Ozai. Each element, he was moving things roughly the size of the Earth pillars. Korra's Avatar state doesn't really seem to amp what she can do size or power-wise more than what? Double, maybe? And that makes it feel like Korra is arbitrarily weaker for the plot to work, and it feels like that because that's what it is. Season 2's solution is just to have her lose all the time anyway, and Season 3 and 4 have their own ways of dealing with the problem. Separate, but not unrelated point, you didn't have to give her the Avatar state, you know? I know she enters it and comes out of it pretty calmly at the end of Season 1, and you wanted to have that moment because you thought Season 1 was all Korra was ever gonna be. So I get that, but this moment doesn't have to be her mastering the Avatar state. We still don't know the ins and outs of the Avatar state even now. Her entering it and leaving it doesn't necessarily have to mean anything. Aang lit up once from just getting frustrated, so we didn't have to have this Avatar state problem, but we do. But it really befuddles me that in a season called Spirits, and with how spiritually lost Korra seemed to be last season until Aang showed up and solved it for her, the plotline of Korra growing as a person and becoming better doesn't also double as a plotline where Korra learns to master the Avatar state. Unalaq's a spiritual master. Korra's still hot-headed and angry about not being able to master the Avatar state because she of course loves being strong, so it gives her more of a reason to throw Tenzin away as a master and go with Unalaq. It kind of writes itself.
We are bonded forever.
So that was a fucking lie.
No, Mom, I swear, the show isn't like this all the time. Okay, Korra just had Rava ripped out of her. Better cut back to the gang in the dementia fog.
You are the hope for future generations of airbenders. The fate of the world rests on your shoulders. But what if I fail?
But you didn't. You have 4 kids, 3 of which are confirmed airbenders. You're kind of killing it. Yeah, the fog, I know.
I am the son of Avatar Aang.
Hello, my son.
I'll never be the man you were.
You are right. You are not me. And you should not be me. You are Tenzin.
At least all this meandering around the spirit world leads to this really nice moment. It was built up to nicely across both seasons, honestly. Tenzin wanting to live up to his father's greatness, and probably the self-imposed goals he imagined his father had for him. That's real and relatable. It's very nice messaging and would be at home in a list with some of the deeper moments that I love from Airbender. What the hell? They got the haiku lady. No, I mean, she was kind of snotty, but she didn't deserve this. Oh, and they got season 2 Aang with season 3 Aang's hair. Oh, man.
Jinora!
All right. Everyone else, you stay. You stay in the fog prison.
Dad.
You're going to be okay, sweetie.
So Janora's a spirit right now, but she can physically interact with the physical people in the spirit world. Okay, so it's as if she's an actual local spirit. Got it. But if Janora left the spirit world right now, as she is, through one of the portals, she would be ghost mode like Aang? Right? That checks out, I think. Sorry, the comics got my head all turned around about this physical world, spirit world stuff. Cartwheel! God, I know it's a different style, man, but come on, he's gonna kill God. Let's be a little more serious here. God, that spirit is yellow. Ah, right in the Aang. Okay, here it is, another big moment. The past lives being destroyed. A lot of people don't like this, mostly for the implications of what it means for the future seasons and the future of this world past that. I think, personally, after season 1, this is a pretty heavy choice to make. This is a real, tangible loss. This hits hard and is effective. Last season, Korra had bad shit happen, but as I lamented, when all was said and done, she hadn't really changed at all, and neither had the world or anything around her. At least this season is trying to do something with her and the world, in big ways, and I can applaud that effort at the very least. And the fact that they stay gone makes this matter for real. It does steal a cool element of the world, though, that this is a cycle, an unbroken line of countless people through the ages, so I can see why people are upset at this decision, but for me, it never really bothered me that much. It seems like a strong, meaningful choice from a writing perspective. But also, I see people do this all the time. People argue that Korra is, quote, the worst Avatar because she got the past lives killed, and in a very unique way that I don't see people arguing very often at all, arguing in such a way as if Korra is a real person that messed up an actual thing. But it's like, the writers wrote it that way, man. She's not a real person. Directing such vitriol towards what, at the end of the day, is a bunch of lines on paper and treating it like this is some real historical event where someone blew it seems really silly. Be mad at the writers, if anything. And I criticize characters all the time in this show, but I attack the writing. I don't treat it as if these characters are real and they're making these decisions. At least I try to keep it to that. I don't know, there's probably some examples of me being just completely unhinged. I'm confused. Why can Korra feel this? Wouldn't Rava be the one storing the past avatars? The glow and everything? The glow is Rava, and Rava is over there being whipped to death, and you're over here. What seems completely tone deaf here is that the final killing blow is shown to destroy Wan. Like, gasp, oh no, not Wan, the most important one. And I like Wan well enough, but having the last one be him, and not the really emotionally troubling one of Aang, seems really backward.
This light spirit will guide you out of the spirit world. I have to go help.
You're telling me Jinora can do this on a whim and she didn't think to just bounce? Hello? I know the fandom has named this monster Unavatu, but man, Kaiju Unalaq is right there. This episode is completely perplexing on a multitude of levels. It's also very choppy, which is something I never really noticed before. Every scene is very short. It jumps around between the big fight, the small fight, and the search party constantly. Seriously, some scenes don't even crack a minute. And that might work if, like I said, all of your scenes were high action, high tension, but they're not. So things cut to something else right when the episode just seems to be getting going. A lot of really confusing moments now show up because the show hasn't done the legwork to really explain any of what's going on fully. The action is at least serviceable, nothing to really write home to mom about. Like, you can't really pick out a big moment from this fight in your head, right? Which is what you kind of want at this point, and especially in a fight between two avatars, something that wasn't even a possibility in your mind until a few episodes ago. You want this to be huge, but no, it's just serviceable, which basically adds up to disappointing. Bolin's a joke, that's annoying, didn't like that. Mako's basically a flamethrower with legs, he doesn't really do anything. I'm telling you, for a finale that's really supposed to be explosive and feel meaningful, there's really only the one thing. The rest of it's like, whatever. Patreon shoutouts if you want to see the next 2 episodes of Overanalyzing Korra ahead of the YouTube releases. You can support me on Patreon for just a few bucks. Link, as always, is in the description below the video. Biggest shoutouts of all go to my top patrons. A stack of pancakes who can tell plants to grow faster, and unlike when everyone else does that, it works. Ben Mizra, who's the first person to ever ghost ride a submarine. Donut, who can always tell you how close the nearest manta ray is. They call it radar. Gene Cree, who can bench press twice as much if no one's looking. It's pretty frustrating. Kevin Bartlin, who survived a plane crash by reacting to all of the shrapnel and fire and blunt force and simply moving out of the way. Liquor Cause I Know Her, who wakes up to breakfast in bed every day despite living alone. They've just stopped questioning it. Omega Fighter, who had a near-death experience and tipped the Grim Reaper for the trouble of showing up. Tater of Tots, who knows people in high places. Literally, they know the sky people. And that one Turian, who's so tough they chew aluminum foil just for something to do. Other massive shoutouts go to my other fuck you money patrons: Anton, Blanco, Jammin, Luna Invicta, Lurfax1, Matthew Lang, Potato Scream, The Former Meaning of Life, The 1 AM Party, and Whitrow. And of course my god overanalyzers: Two Boots Are Beat, Ang, Alan Garvin, Andrew Jacobson, Andrew Watchett, Aropataro, Axel Little Syndicate, Bob Deff, Chandler Crump, Charles the Fartbender, Kobe Smith, Deathly Healer, Dr. Xerox, Dominic Saint, Dricker, Emma Not Emma, Aaron Grace, Fire Lizard 44, I'm a Match, Jason Gebhardt, Jackson, Jeremy Rubenstein, John Ajaka, John Warhammer, Justin Scott, Mac Eligio, Medium D Speaks, Michael Fallon, Mitchell Gobrecht, Nick, Nicholas Abbott, Peter Bayron, Pogger White, Reese, Rocket Mist, Ryan Gregorikos, Ryan Maxwell, Sadie Stormborn, Shane Antonacci, Silk Toast, Smarty Marty, Spicy Ketchup, Super Snipper, Thomas Barrett, Von Cantspell, and then there's at the very end, I'm not sure if anyone's aware of this, there's a bear face. Next up, no way this shit gets like way worse, right?